Dear sisters and brothers in Jesus Christ, join me in reflecting the Gospel of the 30th Sunday in Ordinary Time in Year A. We are reflecting from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 22, verses 34 to 40. The Pharisees heard that Jesus silenced the Sadducees, and one of them, a scholar of the law, asked Jesus a question. Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? He asked this question not to learn more about it, but to test Jesus as usual. Another difficult question, like the question in the last Sunday's Gospel. And Jesus told him, "You shall love your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and the greatest commandment." Jesus could have stopped there because he answered the question. But he continued. He said, "The second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. The whole law and the prophets depend on these two commandments." Jesus told them we cannot separate the vertical love of God and the horizontal love towards our neighbor. We cannot love God without loving our neighbor. We cannot love our brothers and sisters without loving God. Saint Augustine said, "Love and do what you want." In the last supper, Jesus told his disciples, "Do love as I have loved you. Love one another as I have loved you." Dear friends, we see in the whole earthly life of Jesus that he revealed that God's nature, that God is love. And he showed us that we have to love God and we have to love one another. Jesus, the Son of God, loved everyone. He healed the sick. He visited the sinners and tax collectors. He took care of the poor. He was with everyone, the marginalized, the needy, the abandoned. And he showed the great love by dying for us, by saving us, and he forgave his own enemies. Thus, Jesus showed us the greatest love, and he told us, "Love one another as I have loved you." Dear friends, I have heard a beautiful story. An old Jewish rabbi, he asked his disciples, how can they distinguish that the night was over and the day has begun? One of the disciples asked him, "Is it when we can see from far an animal and say clearly or distinguish clearly that it is a dog or a sheep?" He told him no. Then another disciple asked, "Is it is when we can recognize a black thread from a white thread?" He said no. Then the disciples asked him, "Then how it is?" The rabbi told them, "It is when you see a man or a woman and see in their face your brother or your sister. If not, it is still dark, it is still night." Sisters and brothers, in the Gospel of this Sunday, Jesus taught us the greatest commandment of the law. The whole prophets, the whole law based on these two commandments, love of God and love of our neighbor. In Matthew's Gospel, chapter 25, we read, at the final judgment, God asked this question, Did you love me in the needy? The Son of God is identified with the needy, with the sick, with the abandoned, the prisoners, and all those who are in need of us. And when we love our brothers and sisters, we love God. When we love God, we can love our brothers and sisters. Therefore, hate comes from evil. Those who kill another human being in the name of God are doing a false worship of God. They are not worshipping true God who is love. They are worshipping evil. All those hate comes from the evil, as we read also in the second reading of this Sunday. Let us worship God and let us love God and love our neighbors. Friends, be sharers of the Word of God by sharing this homily to one or two of your friends. God bless you.